Paige, and today I did a thing. I went to a little store called Sephora and I picked up a brand new palette. This is the Rose Quartz palette from Huda Beauty. This just launched today, November 1st. And I'm so excited about it. They released an entire collection. In store at Sephora, they didn't have the entire collection. They only had like the palette and one of the lip glosses. I was interested in picking up more from the collection, mainly the highlighter gel looking thing, but I was a little bit nervous about that and they didn't have it in store anyway, so I'm not sure if I'll pick that up. It's kind of expensive to be like a risky purchase. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about. So yeah, I picked up the palette. I'm so excited. Also, I think I fixed my camera settings. If you guys have watched my last few videos, my focus has been insane, but I think I figured out the problem, so fingers crossed this video isn't out of focus the entire freaking time. So, if you guys are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So here we have the palette. The external packaging honestly is kind of boring. Wait till I show you guys what this palette looks like if you don't already know. But the actual packaging of the palette is stunning. Like, I'm obsessed with this. I love crystals. I have them behind me in all of my videos. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but I actually have a piece of rose quartz right here. I also have like some little trolls with crystals as hair, and they're all over my apartment. I love crystals so much. So when I heard they were coming out with a rose quartz palette, I knew that I needed it. 1, because it was Huda Beauty. 2, because it was pink. 3, because it was rose quartz. So the packaging gets a 10 out of 10. I just thought I would show you guys a comparison of the other Huda palettes that I have that are this size. It fits right in perfectly with the Naughty Nude, the Mercury Retrograde, and the New Nude palette. I love these palettes from Huda Beauty. They are a little bit pricey. This retails for $67, which is a lot, but we're gonna go ahead and open this palette up for the first time. Yes, yes, yes. This is absolutely stunning. Do you guys see this? Oh, I love it so much. I will say we do have another one of these little jelly things right here. This is kind of what the highlighter looks like. It's like a clear gel with like speckly chunks of pigment. The Naughty Nude palette had one of these as well. I actually think this is the first time that we saw this formula. I am not a fan based on my experience with this palette, and I just kind of feel like it's a little unnecessary, but we're gonna swatch the whole palette. We're gonna apply eyeshadows to the eyelids and we'll see my thoughts after using this one. I like don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I feel like my mouth is moving, but my brain isn't processing what I'm saying. So let's get to swatching. First, here's a close-up of the shadows. I wanted you guys to get a nice close-up look of this pristine palette. Alright, so here we have all the swatches. I will insert a close-up of the swatches here so that you guys can see a little bit better. The swatches look incredible. Every single shade swatched so perfectly except for the gel looking shade. Still not a fan of it so far from what I can tell. It's actually not very pigmented. I don't know if I just haven't gotten to the pigment part, but it looks pretty much just like a very sheer, like maybe slightly pinky tinted like glossy thing. I don't know. Yeah, but I switched the direction of my swatches. Like here I was going this way, but then I realized that when I turned my hand they weren't gonna line up, so then I did them this way. So that's why there's different directions of swatches. This shade here looks absolutely freaking incredible. I definitely want to use this one today. That is the shade Magic Moon. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in. Not sure what kind of look we're going for yet, but I definitely want to play with some of these like purpley kind of colors, so we're just gonna wing it. So for brushes, I'm gonna be using just like a random collection of Morphe and Jaclyn Hill eye brushes. Usually I would use my bling brushes, but I really need to wash them, so we are going to continue the procrastination and just use some brushes that I have that are clean. You guys can use code Paige for 10% off of Morphe products if you would like. But I'm gonna go in with a JH35, which is just kind of like a fluffy brush. And for our first shade, I'm thinking we'll go in with Cherished, which is this light pink matte color. And I'm not sure if this is gonna show up on my skin, but we will see. Oh yeah, it definitely does show up actually. I'm just gonna start by placing this kind of like throughout the crease. It is a pretty light color, and I do have light skin. So I think that this shade would show up if you did have a deeper skin tone. It would show up a little bit better. But this is just gonna be a nice kind of like transitional blending shade, but I still am getting a good little bit of pigment, especially for not priming my eyes. I did not use an eye primer. I just kind of blended out the leftover concealer that was on my eyelids. But so far, the shade is blending out really, really well. I don't really expect less from Huda Beauty. Like I mentioned, I'm a huge fan of these larger palettes from Huda. I also love her Obsessions palettes, the little 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. Overall, I have a pretty high success rate with Huda Beauty products. I love her face products, powder, foundation, primer. I'm just a big Huda Beauty fan, so Huda Beauty, if you see this, I love you. All right, next we're gonna go in, either in with Happiness or Serenity. These two shades look to be pretty similar. It looks like Serenity is a little bit more cool toned and Happiness has a little bit more of like a pinky like warmth to it. But they do look pretty similar in the pan. I think we're gonna do Happiness, which is the one that's slightly more warm toned, and I'm just gonna go in with that same brush and tap into that. I'm gonna kind of start by putting it in the outer corner. I am gonna put another shade in the outer corner, but we're just gonna kind of start with this just to build up the depth, and then I'm also gonna bring that through the crease as well, keeping it slightly below the shade Cherished. So far so good. The mattes are blending out perfectly. I do want to deepen things up a little bit more though. I'm actually gonna kind of like swatch a couple shades together to try to get an idea of, you know, the rest of my eye look, because I'm still winging it. Up until this point, we're still just winging things. So let me see if I can kind of swatch a few shades together and see like where I want to go from here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go into Aura, which is this deeper matte kind of like plummy brown shade. This is where like I'm a little bit worried, because I wish that I could keep it like more of a purple in the outer corner. But there's not really just like a deep purple, like it's more of like a purpley brown. So again, I'm just taking that same shade or that same brush that I've been using this entire time, and I'm just like very lightly dipping into Aura and then blending that into the outer corner only, just to start to deepen it up a little bit, because I am gonna go in with a little bit of a darker shimmer, and I'm gonna put that on my lid. So I want to add a little bit more depth in this outer corner, which definitely looks like we're getting what I wanted. Then I'm taking a clean brush and going into Cherished, which is that first light pinky color that we used, and I'm gonna use that to blend out the edge of the shadow, just so that we don't have any harsh lines out here. So just dipping into Cherished and using that as kind of like a blending shade. So now I'm gonna go in with this shade here, which is called Cosmic Love. This is like a really like pretty swirled shade, and it is a bit deeper when you swatch it. It's this darkest shade here. I'm gonna try to apply it with a brush. This is the JH44. This is just like a flat shader brush. This seems like a messy shade, and I can pretty much guarantee there's gonna be fallout, but we're gonna try. So I'm just gonna take this and start packing it onto the center of my lid. You kind of have to scoop it, not like ice cream, but like a little bit of a scooping motion, because it is a softer shadow, and that kind of helps it adhere to the brush a little bit better. This is so pretty. It's like purple and blue at the same time. This would be a lot easier to apply with your finger. I'm just using a brush so that I can be a little bit more precise. I also have pretty long nails on right now, so sometimes it's kind of hard to like get in on my eyelid where I want to, but you can definitely see that we do have some fallout, which, like, you know, like I said, that's kind of what I expected. I do think I'm gonna have to deepen the outer crease or outer corner a little bit more, which I didn't want to do, but it's fine. I'm gonna go into Mantra, which is this shade. This is the deepest shade in the palette. I would say it's a matte, and I'm gonna use this just like a teeny tiny bit and just start building up this outer corner because I want the outer part of my eye to be the darkest, and that metallic shade was pretty deep. So this will just kind of help make the eye look a little bit more natural. But we're going very intense, which I wanted an intense eye look, but I just didn't think it was gonna be this intense. That actually applied and blended out so easily, which is fantastic. I'm gonna kind of wipe away some of this fallout. It does wipe away really easily, but just keep that in mind. You know, maybe you want to put a little bit of extra powder under your eyes before you use this palette. But I'm kind of used to fallout, and usually I don't have an issue since I already set my entire face with powder. But if you don't, definitely keep that in mind, or just like do your eyeshadow before you do your foundation and base makeup. So now we're gonna go into Moon Magic. Moon Magic? Yes, I think I said Magic Moon earlier. Moon Magic, which is like the prettiest shade in the entire palette. That's this one right here. It's so metallic and fun. I'm gonna take another sort of like shader brush. Again, I would use my finger if I didn't have nails on. I just can't really reach the inner part of my eye with my nails. So I'm gonna take that and just put it, oh my god, so pretty. Put this on the inner part of my lid, and I'm gonna blend it into Cosmic Love. This is stunning. It actually is like more blue than I expected. I thought it was gonna be more of like a purpley, like lavender shade, but this looks really blue on my eye. Stunning. I think I'm just gonna continue Moon Magic into the inner corner so that we have a fun pop of color here, just to make it more like intense. I don't know, just a little something. Then I'm gonna go into Happiness and just run this along the lower lash line. That's the like warm toned, like middle pinky kind of mauve-y matte shade that we put in the crease. I'm just gonna run this along my lower lash line, kind of bringing it in towards my inner corner, just to even out the eye a little bit. And honestly, this eye look is like one of my favorites that I feel like I've ever done. And I feel like that every time I use a new Huda Beauty palette. Like I don't know, I feel like the shades just stand out so well like against each other while still like working together. Like sometimes if I try to get like use more than 3 colors, it all just ends up looking like one shade on my lid. But with these Huda shadows, you can really blend them and place them where you want, and they just, you can like see everything, and it just makes it look more complex. And I don't know, I feel like Huda shadow formula is superior to a lot of eyeshadow formulas that I've tried. So here we have pretty much the finished eyeshadow look. I am just going to put a little bit of the highlighter that I have on my face on my brow bone, which is like just like a pretty natural highlighter, and then we're gonna put some mascara on, and then I will be back for final thoughts. All right, you guys, so here's the finished look. I freaking love the way that this turned out. I think it is so pretty, and it's even out of my comfort zone, even though these are like the types of colors that I tend to stick to. I usually don't go this dark, and I usually don't have like blue, purple, and pink on my eyes all at the same time, but I love this eyeshadow. I never want to take it off. I'm obsessed. It kind of goes without saying, but I love this palette. I highly recommend this palette. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It is expensive. $67 is a lot for anything, but especially an eyeshadow palette. However, I know the Sephora sale is coming up, which by the way, I do have recommendations videos coming up. I think it starts November 5th for Rouge members, and then the dates get later and later for the different tiers of like Beauty Insider. But I definitely would recommend picking this up during the sale if you don't want to spend full price. That's pretty much the only way that you can get this on sale, unless Huda Beauty has something where like you can sign up for an email. I'm not sure. You might be able to sign up for their emails and get like a 10% off coupon. I know a lot of stores do that, but I'm not sure if Huda Beauty does that. Just throwing that out there as something to check for. But this is freaking amazing. I don't know if it's still gonna be in stock by the time the sale comes around, so keep that in mind. But if you are willing to wait and willing to risk this selling out, I think it is worth waiting for the sale. I'm so happy that I have it now. I would pay full price for this palette. I love it that much. I thought I would show you guys the inside of my other Huda palettes just to kind of compare them. So once again, this is Rose Quartz. I think the most similar one is the Mercury Retrograde palette, which this was my previous favorite Huda Beauty palette. I don't know if it still is. I can't decide. Either this or Rose Quartz is my new favorite. They are pretty, like, I don't know, they give me similar vibes. I feel like there's probably some pretty similar shades. Let's see if we can get this without glare. I feel like that's probably as best as I'm gonna get. So Rose Quartz is on top, Mercury Retrograde is on the bottom. Mercury Retrograde is definitely a lot more colorful. You've got like those teal shades, there's like a peach, some like purpley colors, also a few neutrals and pinks as well. So the Mercury Retrograde is definitely more colorful, but I think these two palettes go so well together. So I personally think that you could have both. I'm very happy that I have both. I think they are different enough, even though they kind of give me the same feeling. These are the types of shadows that I enjoy, so I'm happy that this palette is close to the Mercury Retrograde. Like, this is, like I said, my previous favorite palette from Huda. So anything similar to this, I'm gonna love. So that is it compared to the Mercury Retrograde palette. The Naughty Nude palette, I'm not sure if they sell this anymore, but this was the holiday palette last year, and it's very different, like very, very, very different. Much lighter, much more cool toned, and I mean, they look good together, but I wouldn't say, like, you know, if you have this, this would be completely different for you. And then the New Nude palette, again, I feel like it's pretty different. Here is the New Nude palette. I feel like the New Nude has a lot of mattes. I don't know, like, if there's more, but you also have some like pressed glitter type shades, which you don't get in the New Nude, or in the Rose Quartz palette. This one definitely has more warm tones, more like bricky kind of mattes and pinks and stuff like that. But there's a comparison of all of the palettes in case you have any of them. Like I said, it's definitely closest to Mercury Retrograde, but I think it's different enough to be worth having both, in my opinion. This palette is freaking amazing. Go buy it, please. You won't regret it. This is so freaking good. This did not disappoint. When I saw this was coming out, I was like itching, like waiting for it to launch because of how much I love her other palettes. And like I said, this palette was like made for me. Pink, Rose Quartz, crystals, Huda Beauty eyeshadow. Like this is what I would have done if I were to have made a palette with Huda Beauty. So yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I will have it linked down below. I bought mine in store at Sephora, so definitely check in store if you like want it right now this second. Otherwise, you can order it from Huda Beauty's website or the Sephora website. And like I said, you may want to wait for the sale, but you're definitely risking the possibility of it not being in stock, especially if you're not Rouge. I know a lot of stuff sells out on the first, like at midnight, the first night of the Rouge Access, which is the 20% off group, and you know, that kind of sucks, but just something to keep in mind so that you guys can decide whether you want to purchase it or not and when. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, it will be linked down below as well as the rest of the collection. I am definitely interested in the rest of the collection. I just don't know. It's a lot of money. It's something I'm gonna have to think about. I probably don't need the rest of the collection, but I definitely needed this palette, so. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. I love you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.